In the marble heart of one of the most powerful buildings in the United States, a moment unfolded that no one had scheduled and no one would forget. Under the soft glow of afternoon light, beneath a dome that has witnessed centuries of conflict, compromise, and consequence, one woman transformed a personal insult into a lasting lesson in leadership, not with volume, not with outrage, but with preparation, restraint, and unshakable clarity. This is not simply political commentary. This is a story about what happens when preparation meets provocation. When dignity confronts hostility. When calm conviction neutralizes confrontation. And when a woman shaped by Texas courtrooms shows Washington what real influence looks like. The United States Capitol stood radiant that afternoon, its dome bathed in warm gold, as lawmakers filtered into the rotunda for what was expected to be a routine, even celebratory occasion. The Educational Opportunities and Excellence Act, months in the making, was finally ready for public recognition. After negotiations, compromises, and closed-door meetings, bipartisan agreement had been reached. Inside the rotunda, the mood appeared polite, almost upbeat. Senators adjusted their jackets. Representatives checked their phones. Staffers moved efficiently between rows of neatly arranged chairs. Muted laughter drifted across the circular hall. Yet beneath the surface, something felt unsettled. Smiles looked practiced. Conversations lowered when certain figures passed. A subtle tension lingered, the kind that arrives before anyone knows why. Seated in the third row among Democratic lawmakers was Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Known for her sharp legal instincts and steady composure, she wore a tailored navy suit that projected quiet authority. Her posture was upright yet relaxed, her expression calm and attentive. To most observers, she looked like someone waiting patiently for a ceremony to begin. But to those who understood courtroom psychology, the details told a different story. Her briefcase sat precisely beside her chair, not casually placed, but aligned. Inside, color-coded folders peeked from the opening, yellow, blue, red, green. One label was visible, backup evidence. On her lap rested a leather-bound notebook. A gold pen moved steadily across the page, not capturing random notes, but outlining structure, intention, and response. This was not note-taking. This was preparation. From time to time, she looked up, scanning the room with practiced awareness. Years of cross-examining difficult witnesses had trained her to read intent beyond words, posture, pauses, exchanged glances. She sensed something coming. An aide nearby whispered to a colleague with a half-smile. "Does Representative Crockett look like she's preparing for trial instead of a photo op?" The comment landed closer to truth than the aide realized. The night before, Jasmine had received a brief message. "Watch Melania tomorrow. She's planning something about Biden. It's meant to go viral." Many would have ignored it. Some would have forwarded it to security. Others would have prepared an emotional rebuttal. Jasmine did none of those things. Her career had been forged in adversarial spaces where readiness mattered more than reaction. Instead of attending receptions or fundraisers, she spent the evening alone at her desk, surrounded by legal texts, transcripts, and past statements. She wasn't preparing to attack. She was preparing to clarify. Because she understood something most people don't. The strongest response to calculated provocation is not anger, it is truth delivered with control. Now, with 5 minutes before the ceremony began, Jasmine held something far more powerful than outrage. She held preparation. The shift in the room was not announced. It simply happened. Conversations faded. Heads turned. Cameras adjusted. Melania Trump entered the rotunda. She moved with the ease of someone long accustomed to attention. Her ivory dress was precisely tailored, every seam intentional. Her hair caught the light effortlessly. Her smile appeared calibrated for the lens. Her entourage followed in coordinated formation, navy suits, sleek folders, practiced awareness. From her seat, Jasmine did not turn. Courtroom experience had taught her how to observe without signaling interest. Using only peripheral vision, she tracked Melania's movement, timing, and positioning. She had already studied Melania's speaking patterns, rhetorical habits, and familiar phrasing. The contrast between the two women was unmistakable. One shaped by stylists and strategists. The other shaped by cross-examinations and long nights in law libraries. For a brief moment, their eyes met. No smiles. No acknowledgement. Only awareness. Two sharp minds understood that before the hour ended, only one narrative would endure. Formalities began. The Speaker of the House approached the podium, welcoming guests and introducing the former First Lady. Applause followed, warm from Republicans, restrained from Democrats. Melania's opening remarks were smooth, expected, ceremonial. Praise for bipartisan cooperation. References to education initiatives. Polished delivery. Then the tone shifted. Her rhythm tightened. Her voice sharpened. For education policies to succeed, she said, pausing deliberately, they require strong leadership. Another pause. Longer. Unfortunately, what we've seen from the current administration reflects cognitive challenges that appear to be worsening. The words landed hard. The silence that followed was not polite. It was stunned. She continued, references to confusion, memory lapses, language designed to sound measured while cutting deep. A personal attack disguised as concern. Across the room, reactions split instantly. Republicans leaned back. Democrats stiffened. Press fingers flew across keyboards. And through it all, Jasmine Crockett remained still. Her breathing measured. Her hands resting calmly on her folder. This was not shock. It was focus. As Melania concluded to scattered applause, the speaker returned to the podium, visibly relieved to move forward. Next, you'll hear from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Jasmine closed her notebook. Capped her pen. Stood. No dramatic pause. No visible emotion. Her heels struck the marble floor in steady rhythm as she walked to the podium. At the microphone, she placed her hands evenly and paused. Not to seek approval. But to take in the moment. Then she spoke. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Her voice was calm. Grounded. Unrushed. The atmosphere shifted immediately. She spoke first about education, classrooms, opportunity, children in the communities where she was raised. Then she paused. But silence in the face of mockery, she said evenly, is not an option. The room stilled. She spoke of courtrooms where decorum matters. Of moments when the most powerful response is clarity. She removed her glasses, slowly, deliberately. I'm not here to trade insults, she said. And I'm not here to defend a man who can defend himself. I'm here to defend a principle. She contrasted policy disagreement with dehumanization. Truth with hostility. Then she opened her folder. Calmly, she quoted Melania's own past words about kindness, respect, and tolerance. No accusation. Just contrast. When leaders abandon the values they once promoted, Jasmine said, we teach our children that empathy is optional. The room listened. Then Jasmine spoke personally. Before I was a congresswoman, she said, I was a daughter. She told the story of her father, a brilliant math professor. A man who once solved complex equations effortlessly. Then the changes came. Names forgotten. Steps lost. Tasks once simple now impossible. I watched a man who taught calculus struggle to tie his shoes. The silence deepened. And I saw people decide that because his mind was changing, his worth no longer mattered. Her voice never wavered. But his dignity was never diminished by illness, she said. The only thing that diminished him was the choice others made to mock him. People looked down. A smile vanished from a face across the aisle. "That," she said, "is the line we are responsible for protecting." She leaned forward slightly. "Dignity is not something we ask for. Pause. It is something we show." Applause began slowly. Then spread. Not partisan. Principled. What followed was not just praise, it was recognition. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. A masterclass in grace under pressure. This wasn't politics. It was leadership. Cable networks rewrote their rundowns. Universities added the clip to leadership courses. Teachers showed it in classrooms. A phrase emerged. Dignity isn't requested. It's demonstrated. It appeared on mugs, posters, boardrooms, and in quiet moments when people chose clarity over chaos. Jasmine never chased the moment. She declined primetime specials. Redirected attention back to policy. Because for her, it was never about being viral. It was about being grounded. Years later, her words echoed in classrooms, boardrooms, and homes, proof that leadership doesn't require volume. It requires preparation. And in a world addicted to outrage, she showed the power of quiet confidence. If this story resonated with you, if it reminded you that strength doesn't need to shout, remember this. You always control your response. You can mirror hostility. Or you can elevate the moment. Because dignity isn't something we demand from others. It's something we demonstrate. And sometimes, the clearest voice in the room belongs to the one who refuses to raise it.